always a pleasure to stand and speak in the People's House, Madam Speaker. In my riding of Miramichi Grand Lake, we've got great people, folks who don't ask for much from the government except to defend our borders, protect our streets, and then kindly get out of the way. But now we have a Liberal government trying to tell us what kind of car we can drive. This government's plan to ban the sale of gas-powered vehicles by 2035 isn't just out of touch, it's out to lunch. This is the kind of thing you dream up after a latte in a downtown Toronto espresso bar, not after a hard winter on the Renews Plaster Rock Highway. This is a plan of an urban elite which is blind to the hard fact of geography, weather, industry, dignity of hard work borne by everyday Canadians who work hard for a living. Let me put it plainly, where I come from, a truck isn't a toy. It's not a fashion statement. It's not a mobility solution, as one Liberal minister so helpfully called it. It's a lifeline. It hauls the lumber, tows the boat, it plows the driveway. It gets your kids to hockey and your parents to the doctor. You can't strap 10 sheets of drywall to the roof of a hatchback and call it progress. And unless someone figured out how to get 500 kilometres out of a battery in -30 with no charger in sight, I suggest the Liberals stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Any path to a clearer energy future must proceed at the pace of possibility, not ideology. This Prime Minister says he is all about progress. Well, let me tell you something about progress. Progress isn't forcing a single mom in Blackville to buy a $70,000 electric car she can't charge and doesn't want. Progress isn't replacing the family mechanic with a government-approved software update technician. Progress isn't shutting down the dealerships, the mechanics, and the supply chains that keep rural Canada moving. You want to build electric vehicles? That's fine. But you don't have to kill the combustion engine upon which our modern society depends on it. Let us remember, Madam Speaker, that freedom isn't about the right to vote, it's about the right to choose. And let's be real here, this is not about the environment. If this were about the environment, we would instead be debating national charging network and a plan to build more reliable charging stations. If this were about the environment, we would be talking about grid resilience, rural access, battery disposal, and cost, both present and future, of electricity. Does this government have a plan where everyone in New Brunswick plugs their Liberal mandated vehicles in at 6 p.m. in January? In Miramichi, our power flickers when the next door neighbour turns the microwave on during the evening news. Our electrical infrastructure can barely stay ahead of current demand. So what do the Liberals decide to do? Let's burn out the grid. Let's double electricity bills. Let's crash the system and blame it on the provinces. Madam Speaker, we know that the Liberal government prefers Canadians to stay at home. We saw it during the pandemic, and we see it today in the federal civil service. Still on Zoom, still on mute, still on break. So maybe that's the plan. Maybe they don't want you to drive at all. Maybe they don't want you to leave your home or go to work or take your kids to the rink. Maybe they want Canadians to be at home, dependent, plugged in and powerless, because this government has slogans, not solutions. Now let me be clear about one thing. This government has a strategy. Just 1 month ago, in the middle of a federal election, what was their promise? We are going to pretend we are Conservatives and axe the carbon tax. That's what the Canadians heard. Well, what did they hear? Didn't they hear? What the Liberals didn't say was their real plan was to replace the tax with something even worse. They didn't say that they wanted to ban the very vehicles Canadians use to work, raise family, and live their lives. Madam Speaker, this wasn't a change of heart. It was a sleight of hand. This Prime Minister didn't kill the carbon tax. He replaced it with something even worse, a carbon ban. He figured, why bother taxing the gas in your truck when he can just make sure you're never allowed to own one? This government didn't ban carbon pricing because they changed their mind. They abandoned it because they were blaming the very thing they used to tax. How very Liberal of them, Madam Speaker. They don't need to tax gas when their plan is to outlaw the engine that burns it. Madam Speaker, the only thing this plan is guaranteed to reduce is freedom. Freedom to choose what you drive. Freedom to work where you want, live where you want, and drive what suits your family and your job. It's a typical Liberal government overreach, plain and simple. And here's the kicker, Madam Speaker. Hard-working New Brunswickers are not going to trade in a sturdy, reliable, rust-proof pickup truck for a plastic pop can on wheels because some deputy minister in Ottawa wearing a turtleneck said so. People in Miramichi Grand Lake don't take kindly to being told that they are backwards just because they know how to run a chainsaw and change their own oil. And they sure don't want to be lectured by a Prime Minister who spent 10 years sipping champagne at the Bank of England. This plan is a slap in the face to rural Canada. This is a slap in the face to every tradesman, farmer, hunter, and contractor in this country. This is one more example of this government thinking it knows better than the people it's supposed to serve. And let's not forget, once this government takes away your ability to choose what you drive, they won't stop there. Today it's gas vehicles, tomorrow it's your furnace, your wood stove, and maybe even your barbecue. You see, Madam Speaker, you can't call it choice when there's only one option on the shelf. This isn't a plan about lowering emissions, it's about increasing control. It's not about saving the planet, it's about control. This is not about climate, it's about compliance. The truth is, this ban won't save the environment, but it will make life harder, colder, more expensive for millions of Canadians. And the people paying the highest price? Not the elite, downtown elites, not the Tesla crowd. It will be the diesel mechanics, the forestry workers, the young family in Doketown trying to barely make ends meet. So I say this to the government through you, Madam Speaker. Back off. Scrap the ban. Let Canadians decide for themselves. Because the Conservative Party doesn't fear the future, Madam Speaker. We believe in it. We believe in people. We believe in choice. We know that the best decisions don't come from Ottawa. They come from the ordinary Canadians who pay for and live with the consequences. The Conservative Party respects and has faith in common sense of the people of Canada. Because the only thing more dangerous than a government that wants to take away your truck is a government that thinks they know better than the guy that drives it. And if the Prime Minister wants to take away our pickup trucks, he better bring himself a convoy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.